Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the newest edition of Swoop Radio with Josh Sanchez. And welcome back on YouTube listeners and listeners everywhere. This is a sports and mental health podcast. Again, I'm your host, Josh Sanchez. And before we get on to today's topics, I have to give a shout out to my girlfriend, Namala. For the guys who do not know me, I am a big anime fan. Other than sports, I love watching anime. I love watching Naruto. I've just started on One Piece. I'm already on episode 400. It's been great. I'm also going to get into more of One Piece and also might even add that to this podcast and to this YouTube channel. It's just some fun stuff to talk about. If you guys would like, let me know. Recommend. I can definitely talk about anime with you guys. But some animes I've watched Naruto. I've watched all of it. Love Naruto. Watched all of Dragon Ball. Like, who hasn't watched all of Dragon Ball? I've seen Death Note. I've seen One Piece. And if you guys have, my YouTube listeners, my Apple Podcast listeners, anywhere, if you guys have any other anime that you recommend, feel free to hit that comment button. I've seen all of My Hero Academia. I started Hunter x Hunter, but with me, like, I like to watch one show at a time. So right now it's just been all One Piece. And I also figured out that Monkey D. Luffy is a tourist too. So tourist gang out here. But back to my main point, how I'm going to start today's show. I'm always going to start with a quick little anime, topic. But I got the devil fruit that Ace, Luffy's brother, ate, and it's called the Mara no Mi devil fruit. I had to make sure I pronounced that right, as I cannot say that wrong. But I must say that this looks very good. I'm going to put it right on the screen for you guys to see. The Para no Mi, or Mara no Mi devil fruit. Sorry, guys. And what this does is, what this devil fruit is it it's like your body's on fire. You have the power to control fire, and you have the power to, like, pretty much make the sun. It is just unfair. And I've been saying this to this day. If I had to eat one devil fruit, obviously there's like a lot of devil fruits that are just cheating. I'm talking about just a regular devil fruit. I'm eating that one if I'm in the One Piece world, and if devil fruits existed, I'm eating that one. My body's gonna be all fire. I'm gonna make the damn sun, and I'm gonna burn this shit to the ground, because that is how messed up everything is. But anyway, let's get on with today's topic, because Swoop Radio has a very good topic for you guys today. The MJ documentary is finally finished, and I also noticed that ESPN posted a top 74 player list. And I'm only going to talk about the top 10. I'm going to post the list, as you guys can see. On YouTube, you guys can be able to see it. But if not, for my listeners on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and others that just like to listen to podcasts, you guys can check that on ESPN.com. But the top 10 list, I like the names that they put on the list. They had Shaq at 10. They had Kobe at 9th. They had Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and I know I'm missing out a couple others. But pretty much, I did not like the order of this list. They had Magic Johnson in there, and that should be 10 that I named right there. But anyway, I liked the 10 that they had on the list. I understand why Shaq would be 10th. I know Shaq was one of the most dominant players during his time. But the problem is that these other guys are just on another level. And what I disagree most with this list, I believe that this list has LeBron ranked too high. LeBron was ranked second behind Jordan, and this is no disrespect to LeBron James. And I'm going to let you guys know right now. Well, how I talk about sports, I look at the full repertoire. I look at, in terms of overall skill set, LeBron James is 6'8", 240, can pass, rebound, shoot. He's turned into one of the best shooters in today's game. He can do it all. But what separates LeBron James from these three guys I have above LeBron James is, one, his career is not over yet. So LeBron can still pass a couple of these guys. But two, these guys are just better at winning than he is. And it's not a disrespect to LeBron James because he is a Mount Rushmore player. He is definitely top 5 all time. And that is an amazing accomplishment. So to all the people that sit up here and get all worked up and all emotional about LeBron or on MJ's side or whatever, this GOAT endless debate, you guys have to realize these guys played two completely different styles. These guys led in two different ways. So to compare these two guys is not really a fair comparison to either Michael Jordan or LeBron James, because one was the best scorer of all time, and the other is going to be known as one of the best passers of all time. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the top 10 list, and I'm going to make changes and alternate the list for you guys. So as I pull up the list, I got to check on my phone again. It's easy to see because I'm going to put it right there on the screen for you guys so you guys can see that. But as I look at the top 10 list, again, Shaq was number 10. Kobe Bryant was number 9. Tim Duncan, number 8. Larry Bird, number 7. Wilt Chamberlain, 6. Magic, 5. Bill Russell, 4. Kareem, 3. LeBron, 2. And Michael Jordan, 1. That was according to ESPN. And honestly, I am highly disappointed with the order of this list. Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time. He should be ranked higher. Kareem is the best center, in my opinion, of all time. And that's no disrespect to Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain, you guys have to remember, he averaged 50 and 20 in a season. So you got to give him all the credit when credit is due. But as I'm looking at this list, big men, there's so many centers on this list that it's just hard. And in my opinion, as time goes by and more great players come and go into the league, the centers, each position should have their own list. It should go centers, forwards, I'm talking about small forward and power forward because how the game's evolving, and guards. That's how it should be. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. I'm talking about this top 10 list. I like Shaq at 10. Shaq is at 10. I put Kobe ahead of Shaq because Kobe won one more ring than Shaquille O'Neal. And you guys got to remember, Shaq and Kobe won 3 chips together. Yeah, Shaq was Finals MVP. But how they broke up and how they separated, they should make a 10-part documentary series on Kobe and Shaq next and their relationship. But Kobe won 2 without Shaq. Shaq won 1 without Kobe. You guys got to remember that. Shaq may have been one of the most dominant players, but his free throw shooting hurt him, and he was not a lethal shooter at all. So Shaq is at number 10, and I like Shaq at 10. Now, this is where it gets tricky because I think Kobe Bryant should be higher on this list. And again, before I say anything, I don't want anyone to feel some type of way because, again, this is just my opinion and based off of what I've seen. And again, I've seen all the documentaries. I've looked at all the stats. Stats don't tell everything. And I look at how dominant that person was in their current era. And I would put Kobe ahead of Larry Bird just because Kobe won 5 rings. He's been to 7 finals. And he also had a longer career than Larry Bird. Those two played in completely different eras and two completely different eras. And I completely understand that. Larry Bird, Larry Legend, I have tremendous respect for Larry Legend. 3 MVPs, 3 rings. He honestly should have won more MVPs. Part of the dream team, Olympic gold medalist, and the best shooter in his era. He led the league multiple years in three-pointers made. Larry Bird, Larry Legend, no disrespect. The fact that he's even in the top 10 is amazing. So I would go Shaq at 10. I would go Larry Bird at 9. Then I would go Kobe at 8. I would only move Kobe up one spot just because these other guys ahead of him, I mean, you can have an argument for him or Magic, but Magic is, in my opinion, the greatest Laker of all time. Magic will never tell you that. Magic will never discredit that. But again, Magic Johnson he's the best passer of all time. Whereas Kobe is not the greatest shooting guard of all time. That's how I ranked it. I looked at Kobe as he's not the greatest shooting guard of all time. Magic is the greatest point guard of all time. So that's why I have Magic Johnson higher. But at number 7, I have Tim Duncan. And the reason why I have Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward to ever play the game. And he was more consistent than Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, yes, they won the same amount of rings. Kobe Bryant went to one more final than Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan went to 6. Kobe Bryant went to 7. But Tim Duncan was a winner. He won over 1,000 career games, and he was a model of consistency. 2-time MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Tim Duncan did it on both ends of the court, 2010 and at least 2 blocks. Season after season after season, you knew what you were going to get with Tim Duncan. Whereas with Kobe, it was a roller coaster. His peaks were amazing, but he also hit extreme low points. And I look at model of consistency, and I got to go Tim Duncan at 7, and you got to give Tim Duncan the respect and the credit he deserves. So far, at 10, just to recap, Shaq, 9, Larry Legend, 8, Kobe, 7, Tim Duncan, and then 6, I like where Wilt Chamberlain, where Wilt still is at 6, just because he has 2 rings. He was dominant in his era. I will say it was between him or Bill Russell, but I put Bill Russell ahead of Wilt because Bill Russell won 11 titles and defeated Wilt Chamberlain numerous times. Wilt Chamberlain, obviously, 50-point, 20-point season. That's why I have him at 6. And because, again, Wilt Chamberlain was one of the godfathers of basketball. And he really changed the rules and changed the game. The rules had to change because he was so dominant. But again, got to give respect to respect is due to players that used to play the game. I'll never forget his conversation with Michael Jordan in the 90s. Wilt Chamberlain told Michael that the game is changing to better his game, whereas with Wilt Chamberlain, it was to stop him from being so dominant. So with that comment and that being said, Wilt Chamberlain is 6th on my list, and I could easily put him in the top 5. I would. At number 5, I have LeBron James at number 5 ahead of Wilt Chamberlain, just out of respect for LeBron's greatness. You go to 8 finals. LeBron James, Mount Rushmore player. And again, Mount Rushmore, I have 5 people. My top 5 players of all time is the Mount Rushmore. So LeBron James is a Mount Rushmore player. And that's why I want to give respect where respect is due. His 2018 playoffs was amazing, hitting buzzer beater after buzzer beater. Yeah, I know he was playing against the Pacers and the Celtics, but you still got to hit the shots when the game is on the line. And his 3-9 record hurts him. It is 3-6 record, my fault, in the 9 finals. 3-6 record will hurt him. That 2010 finals against the Mavericks hurts him. I put him ahead of Kobe just because of LeBron's all-around greatness, and he's not done his career yet. LeBron James could be the first man ever to average 40,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. He could end up being the number 1 scorer and a top 5 assist man in NBA history. You got to give respect to LeBron James's greatness and his overall consistency and his body of work. Kobe broke down at 35, 36 years old. LeBron James will be 36 in December, and he's still going. And that could be the only case. That could be the only way LeBron James makes his case to elevate over these next guys on my list. At number 4, I got to go with Magic Johnson, and that is because Magic Johnson was the best point guard in the game, and he does not get talked about enough. His rookie year against my 76ers in the NBA Finals with Kareem out with an injury, dropped 42 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, and just dominated the 80s. Him and Larry Bird were great, and their battles were amazing. And that's why they really started the new age of basketball and really got people going and watching the Showtime Lakers and Larry Legend. And honestly, like, without them, basketball would never been the same. They really inspired Michael and others. And you want to talk about a winner, just like how Larry Bird carried a bunch of old school white men from Indiana State University or Indiana and took them all the way to the national championship game against Magic Johnson. And when Magic Johnson played with Michigan State, Magic beat him. And Magic did beat Larry Bird more than Larry beat Magic. And I know Magic had more weapons. He had Kareem, but I mean, Larry Bird had McHale and all those boys. It was great. It was just great. But Magic Johnson is just special. And he is the best passer of the game. John Stockton is second in my opinion. And for those who are like, oh, John Stockton looks like a plumber and all that, I get it. He does. You wouldn't think a skinny, tall, skinny white man would dominate, but that's John Stockton. But that's another conversation. Magic Johnson was the best point guard ever, is the best point guard ever. And he averaged over 11 career assists a game. And he really dominated his era. 5 titles. I know I just like Kobe, he went to 7 or 8. I got to double check that. Don't quote me on that one, but he's been to a lot of finals, and he really put the Lakers on the map. The Lakers were always known before him as the team that just would lose to the Celtics. It was always Bill Russell Celtics, and that's who's number 3 on my list is Bill Russell. Not number 3. Number 4 on my list is Bill Russell. No, 3. I'm right. I was right the first time. I apologize. 3 is Bill Russell because you win 11 titles in 13 years. You can't sleep upon that. He's done something that no one else will ever do. And he dominated his era. He just dominated his era. And he was a champion. And championships matter. But Magic, greatest Laker of all time. And no disrespect to anybody on this list, honestly, in my opinion. At number 2, so I went Bill Russell at 3. Number 2, I go Kareem. Kareem, in my opinion, is the greatest center of all time. He won in high school. He won in college, and he won in the NBA. 5-time champion, 6-time MVP, number 1 scorer of all time, and created an unstoppable shot, the sky hook. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he was a civil rights activist. I know Will Chamberlain also spoke, and also Muhammad Ali and all those brothers. They were amazing. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, is the greatest center of all time. Hands down. No debating with that. And the fact that ESPN can put LeBron James over Kareem, and LeBron James' career is not even over yet, you got to understand, these guys play in 2 different eras. They play 2 completely different games. One is a center, one is a forward. You have to be kidding me. How are you going to put a guy that's 3-6 in the NBA Finals over a guy that has won in high school, that has won in college, and has won in the NBA way more than LeBron James? Pause and think about that for a second. That is called recency bias. And I'll continue to say that. A lot of guys in today's game, it's a recency bias thing. People put these guys that just played in the game on other pedestals, and they forget about the guys that played before the game. That's what makes Michael Jordan the number 1 player in basketball, because he inspired Kobe, he inspired LeBron, he inspired everybody, just like how Magic, Bird, and others inspired him to be the greatest. You got to respect the people that came in the game before you. And you can't forget about them because of recency bias. You can't. And as we know, the game is going to be completely different 20 years from now. And I'll never forget the guys that played in this current era. because you can't. I honestly think within the next 10 years, we might be having guys on this list that will be removed. Could Shaq still be on the list? Could there be a new guy emerge? So my list again, Michael Jordan at number 1. All you have to do is watch The Last Dance. That answers everything for you. 2, Kareem. 3, Bill Russell. 4, Magic Johnson. 5, LeBron James. 6, Wilt Chamberlain. 7, Tim Duncan. 8, Kobe Bryant. 9, Larry Legend. 10, Shaq. And another guy that I could even put ahead of Shaq is Hakeem Olajuwon. Do not sleep on that man. He is my honorable mention, and him and Shaq could be intertwined. That is the only thing I would say. And no disrespect to Shaq. Shaq is great in his own way. But Hakeem Olajuwon won during the Jordan dominant era. Yeah, I understand that Michael Jordan took time off and played baseball and all that fun stuff. But you got to remember, Hakeem Olajuwon was the number 1 pick, picked ahead of Michael Jordan. Jordan was picked 3rd. And to this day, no one ever even talks about Hakeem being a bad pick for the Rockets. Oh, they picked him ahead of Michael Jordan. Even Michael Jordan respects Hakeem Olajuwon's greatness. So just let that sink in real quick. But this concludes today's podcast for Swoop Radio with Josh Sanchez. I hope you guys enjoyed my little One Piece talk. If you guys would like, drop a comment. I can get into more of One Piece and also anime talk as well. I have a couple theories of my own that I would really like to talk about here. But you guys listen to Swoop Radio with Josh Sanchez on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. All you have to do is search Swoop Radio and I'll pop right up. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. And also follow me on social media at Swoop Radio _. That is Swoop Radio _ on Instagram and Twitter. I'll pop right up. Hope you guys have a wonderful night out there, guys. Stay safe. And I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. But for now, this is Josh signing off. Swoop.